All right. Well, aloha kakahiaka, everyone. Today is February 18th, 2022, and you are part of the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome. We're connecting with people who want to live in Hawaii, want to own a home in Hawaii, with handling your questions and comments and all the discussion. And we got our friends here. Let's see here. I'm wondering if Jim cheated because Jim kicked in like at on an hour ago. He kicked in and then he kind of and then he kind of said, I'm working on a project, want to get my greeting and hope I'll be watching at 3 o'clock. So Jim, if you're there, give us a shout out. But you certainly threw your comment there an hour ago. And Chris came in early too. Chris, aloha kakahiaka and happy Aloha Friday. Thank God it's Friday indeed. Thanks God it's Friday. We were supposed to have crappy weather, but it hasn't gotten crappy yet. So I have an old thing. It's like, if you want it to rain, you wash your car. That's how you get it to rain, is you wash your car. And if you don't want it to rain, you wash your car assuming it's going to rain, and then you put a cover over the car, and then it won't rain. So that's the add-on onto this. So let's go counterclockwise with my friends, Scott Startzman, who is with us on the island of Oahu. We got Heidi Dollinger, who's with us from the island of Maui, and we got our friend Dylan Nonaka, who's hailing from the Big Island. Scott, give us the update. What's the Aloha shirt? What's the background? What's happening? Mic check.
Yeah, we have terrible weather today, right? There's a few clouds in the background and some light breezes. That's
Awful.
about as bad as it gets. No, it's actually going to be interesting, this show, because they're building a pretty big home right back over here, and I hear the guys framing. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but you get the nail guns going all the time, which is the sweet sound in my ears. I love hearing that. And then there's another guy drilling concrete down there. So it's like, hey, Urban Core Honolulu coming to you from the show this morning.
Scott, is that like the scene from the one movie? I love the smell of I love the sound of nail guns in the morning. Is that kind of that's how we paraphrase that one?
Yeah, makes the hair stand up on my neck. I get all excited. So
warms my heart. Warms my heart. And we got Dwayne, who's back with us. Welcome back, Dwayne. Good to see you, buddy, from Chile, Kentucky. What's the temperature out there, Dwayne? Give us a quick weather reading, and of course, Auntie Joyce. Aloha to all. Welcome, Auntie Joyce, a pillar of our group. Heidi, let's move on to you. What's going on in Maui? What's the coffee of the day today? What's happening?
Well, the coffee of the day is the Hana Bliss, which it's kind of a lighter roast with vanilla, chocolate, macadamia nut. It just reminds me of taking a little day off and going to Hana, which is one of our favorite trips. It's this long and winding road to the east part of the island, but it's really getting away. So that's what I'm thinking about while I'm sipping this coffee.
Hana, I have to agree with you, Heidi. So, is there like a good or a bad time traffic wise? I mean, you don't tell anyone else, Heidi. It's just between you and me right now. Don't tell us and everyone who's going to be watching this video. But what's like you're the local there. What time of the day or what day of the week would you drive to Hana to try to avoid the famous Instagram traffic jams of people not pulling over, blocking half the highway to look at a waterfall? When's the best time to go to Hana?
Well, that is a great question, Peter. We're always trying to figure that out. It's kind of hit or miss. A lot of visitors, when they're going, they'll leave early in the morning and spend the day. So sometimes driving down there later in the day and then spending the night either camping or there's a couple hotels and vacation rentals down there where you can spend the night. Sometimes that works. You can also go in the reverse direction. It's called the backside of Hana, and you can go that way and come around the other way because a lot of tourists don't go that way. So
all kinds of options. I love that road to Hana is like, man, it's like literally it's out of this. I have a long story about that, my first visit to Maui. So that's a great. Thank you, Heidi, for bringing that image back into my mind. The road to Hana is amazing. Speaking of roads, Dylan, what's going on, buddy? Fill us in on the big on. What's the shirt? What's the like? What's happening on your side of the woods?
It was good to be back. I was gone last week up in San Francisco and Tahoe visiting some family and doing some snowboarding. So that was super fun, but it's always good to come home and get reminded of why we live here, and the weather is so much better than anywhere else. Even though it was pretty nice in Tahoe, it was like 55 degrees, so you could snowboard in like a long sleeve shirt, which was pretty cool. So got some good family time in, but back on the Big Island this week, and gonna spend some time at the beach this weekend. Got a living hula on. This is my pink living hula shirt, so thought I'd rock this one this morning. Somewhat pretty new design. I think in only last few months it came out. So local designer here in Kona.
It's looking good. You know, Dylan, you just inspired me. What we should, hey, so what if we did this? What if we had like a Dylan's shirt of the month club, and we kind of, you know, posted this somewhere? Hey gang, would you all join in with me? You know, Scott, you know, Heidi, we'll have to kind of figure out, you know, how that's going to work. Maybe we'll have to kind of figure out a fashion kind of accessory, but you know, Dylan's, you know, shirt of the month, and we all kind of wear, you know, we all buy it and we all wear it, and maybe you all buy it too. Would you all buy? Here's a question for you guys. So do it this way, gang. Would you buy a shirt of the month if Dylan kind of, you know, if we did some kind of a deal with the shirt company or whatever, maybe, you know, who knows, some kind of a, you know, Ohana discount or whatever, and we post it, would you buy it? Would you buy the shirt? That'd be fun. That's a good question. So let me know, gang.
And it's
Go
not
ahead,
just shirts. So the cool thing about this company is they have these patterns, but they make it in all kinds of different designs. So you have the men's Aloha shirts, but then you have long dresses, they have rompers, they have, you know, female blouses. I mean, they have the women's line is huge. I mean, the options, all different, you know, shapes and sizes you can get them in. So the men's stuff is pretty simple, but you can get them in whatever kind of shape and size you want on the female side.
So we'll have to kind of maybe get Mrs. Nonaka to pick out the ladies version, or maybe Heidi will pick out the ladies version. Yeah. But anyway, so gang, I want to know about this. And Dylan, it looks like the people want the Dylanism posters instead. So that looks like that's becoming more popular here. Dwayne's doing this. Hey gang, look, let's just pretend that the show is officially starting. I'll put up the title slide one more time just so you all know that we're officially starting, but we're just having too much fun over here. So okay, we have begun. The show we're actually 2 minutes late. We've begun, but we're not going to do news because we're having too much fun here right now. We're going to come back with some news in a minute. We have a lot of catching up to do because Dwayne wants the Dylanism poster here. Let's go back up over here. We have a lot of people to catch up on. Now, Cameron popped in a question. I'm going to throw the question on it, but we're going to come back to it in just a minute. But let's all think about this. When is a good time to buy a house in Oahu? Quick answer right now. My parents are looking to buy a house that has enough land on it to buy an Ohana suite, but also have 3 bedrooms, 3 bed, 2 bathrooms. So put that one. Let's kind of put that one in our heads there, Scott, and then we'll come back to it because Tom is hailing us from the UK, Aloha, and from stormy UK. What's the weather like there, Tom? And Dwayne came back from Kentucky. It's 36 but sunny. Well, at least it's sunny, right? At least it's sunny. So you've got that going for you. And Patrick McKenna from Germany. Awesome. Good evening from Germany. Hey, what time is it there now, Patrick? I'm curious. What time is it in Germany right now? It's 10 a.m. in Hawaii right now. I'm curious what the difference is. And Judy Weber is back with us. Aloha, Judy. Judy is an Islander Ohana alumni. Judy, great to have you back. And Joyce, you know, Joyce is really into Heidi's engagement, which is so much fun. Joyce says, love Heidi, saying it's our favorite trip to Hana. That engagement ring really changes things. Yes, Heidi, the engagement ring. So we're all excited to kind of to follow the adventures of Heidi as she goes through that. Val is back with us. Hey Val, welcome back. Good morning. Good to see you. Val is a member of the Islander Ohana, and it's great Val that you're back with us. Babs okay. Aloha from Idaho. Because I'm going to blow that one. I'm going to butcher that. How do you pronounce that? High 40s and the snow is melting. Well, there you go. Snow's melting. That's all I can ask for. Patrick, hey Patrick, welcome back, buddy. From Palm Beach, Florida, the Sunshine State, where it's always sunny and beautiful, just like the Aloha State. So Patrick, weren't you in like North Carolina or something? And are you vacationing in Florida? This is my brains tell me that you were somewhere and you were up in the North Carolinas or something like that, and now you're in Florida. Look, buddy, Florida is a beautiful place. The world is beautiful everywhere, but nothing comes close to Hawaii. Sorry, nothing comes close to Hawaii. Florida's awesome. Florida's beautiful. Sunshine State. We love Florida. We love the people of Florida, but nothing beats Hawaii. Right, Dylan? Nothing beats Hawaii's weather, period.
I just got off a call with somebody explaining that to them. They're like, where's the best weather in Hawaii? And I'm like, anywhere.
Anywhere. Exactly. The answer is yes. That's the answer. The answer is yes in Hawaii. And Juliana's back. Welcome, Juliana. Aloha and welcome back. So Scott give a wave to Juliana there, who's hanging out with us. This is so much fun. Judy, a shirt of the month. Okay, Judy. So we have one. We have one for the shirt of the month. Who else? Who else is going to go for the shirt of the month? Yes. Oh, there we go. Auntie Joyce, I would buy one. See, we could all wear it and we could kind of like do video chats and all that kind of stuff, and send your photos of the shirt. It'd be kind of fun, I think. Neil's back with us. Aloha, everyone. Welcome back, Neil. So is Patrick McKenna. 9 p.m. Okay, so it's not your. Oh, it's almost like a 12-hour difference. Storm Eunice with winds up to 122 miles an hour. Dude, that's not stormy. That's like deadly. Is that miles per hour or kilometers per hour? That's crazy. That's like tear the house off. Okay, Patrick's on vacation. Awesome. Well, Patrick, I hope you're enjoying a vacation, buddy, but you haven't vacation until you've come to Hawaii. That's all I got to tell you. I hope you'll be there. Am I a spokesman? Am I like an ambassador for Hawaii? I should be paid for this, right? Gil is drought-ridden Northern California. Well, Gil, hopefully the rains will let up. Well, welcome everybody. We're glad to all see you. Let's move on. It's time to kind of do some quick news. Really quick news updates. Let me kind of share with you what's kind of going on over here in our Aloha State for today. So we got some more whale saving. That's always kind of fun. There's another whale saving story. Heidi, maybe you can comment on this one. There was a mother humpback whale was freed of more than 550 feet of line and debris. I'm seeing more of these stories in debris. So they freed them and it was kind of cool. It's always cool and fun to save the whale. So I thought I'd throw that in. So gang, I'm going to make a predictions here. Restrictions gone by the State of the Union address. So here's my prediction, everybody. There will be no mandates at the federal level as of on or before the State of the Union address. It's one of those science things. It's the science, it's coincidence, it's God's will, you name it, but there's going to be something that's going to make all the mandates go away by the State of the Union address. Mark my words. And Hawaii looks like it's going to be hanging in there. Josh Green, who's our gubernatorial candidate, and also currently the lieutenant governor, he's kind of been like I don't want to call him like the Dr. Fauci of Hawaii because he's not been like Dr. Fauci, but he's a medical guy. He's a doctor. He's been kind of the guy that's been leading the charge to kind of, address COVID in Hawaii. He believes that the safe travels thing, that thing where you have to go through safe travels, you have to put an app and verify you're vaccinated and all this kind of stuff, it's going to go away. And he expects it to go away by mid-March, which is State of the Union. Told you. He also thinks early April that the indoor mask mandates are going to go away too, right after the State of the Union address. Why is that? What's the science behind that? I want to know. Anyway, Red Hill. So if you've been following the Red Hill story, this is the quick update. The story of Red Hill is that there's been a fuel leakage. Jet fuel has leaked out of this place in Hawaii on Oahu called Red Hill, and it has leaked into some of the water supply. They've had some homes that have been evacuated, Navy base type homes that have been evacuated. Looks like they've been cleaned up and the water's been flushed, and they've gotten the clean bill of health for the first crop of people to move back into their homes. That's a big deal. So for those of you that have been following that, you kind of want to know about that. Renters, I don't have a headline here, but there's a story on renters. Scott, maybe I want to have you kind of comment on that. It looks like they're going to be expanding the hardship assistance program. I don't know what that's going to affect on the market, but it's going to affect it in some way, shape, or form. And then look at that weather, gang. 76, 77 all the way across. It was supposed to be raining, so you see the clouds over there, but so far we're so good. So all right, gang, that's it for a quick update. Why don't we go clockwise this time? Let's go Dylan and then Heidi and then Scott. Give us the update, Dylan, on anything you want to report on as far as the Big Island, what kind of anything that's newsworthy, anything that's market worthy. What do you want to share from the Big Island? Dylan.
So the big news from the last couple of days is we had a little brush fire here in Kona, and it was actually right next to where my office is located. So my phone has been going off the hook for the last couple of days, and people checking in, which I very much appreciate. But the fire department did a great job. Luckily, we have a big ocean nearby, so the helicopter could just grab water and bring it over and drop it on the forest, the brush fire. But I think it might have been some homeless folks barbecuing in the bushes that got a little bit overzealous. And so it was really literally like right outside of my window out here, huge brush fire in the very dry old pastures between the two highways. So that was kind of the big news. And the other thing that's interesting piece of news that came out is we have a crisis of kittens on the Big Island because the feral cat population control programs have taken a hit with funding during COVID, or they don't have the facilities open in order for people to get their cats spayed and neutered, and so there is a huge boom of feral cats being born on the island, and it's kind of like our crisis right now. So I guess when that's your biggest problem, you're doing all right.
If your biggest problem is too many cats, I think we're doing okay. Yeah, I think we're doing all right on that. We had a couple we had a couple of people kind of chiming in over here. I want to recognize them. First of all, Mark Whitehill has joined us. Let me clear up the screen a little bit in a different way. There we go. Mark Whitehill has joined us. Mark, welcome back, buddy. Mark is an alumni of the Islander Ohana, and he has actually moved to Oahu, helped by Scott. And that's great to see you back, Mark. I love it that you guys are attending. Mark is there. It's so much fun to see Mark and his family. It's their first year living in Hawaii, and of course, and they're posting these phenomenal, they're phenomenal. These great. Envy pictures, I'm going to call them, right? Hawaii envy pictures, and they're just awesome, right? These amazing sunsets, these beautiful, beautiful sunrises, beach. It's just great. So, Mark, keep it up. Tell your wife to keep hacking away. I love it.
I get jealous of seeing their pictures.
Right?
I live here. Yeah, they're amazing. They're all over the place.
They've done a great job. It's awesome. I'm sure their friends back on the mainland are jealous, especially during these times of during the winter. Norm is back with us. Norm, welcome back. You and your wife Tony. We're glad to see you folks here. Jim, you made it. Jim, aloha, not too late, but you made it. Jim, you're always welcome, buddy. You are always welcome here. Glad to have you. Auntie Joyce says health restrictions, quote, predictions are great, but I'm predicting they will change every other day. Don't hold your breath or place any money on it. Absolutely. Do not place any bets. I'm not a betting man anyway. Mark, yep, that's it, man. Absolutely. Check out our vlog. That's right. He's got the vlog too. Give us the Mark. Would you please post the URL for your blog? I will circle back and repost it. It's great to see their family giving us updates on their trials and tribulations in Hawaii. All right, who's up next? Heidi, give us the update. What's the Maui news? Maui update, Maui market, Maui notables. What's happening?
Well, the real estate market's off to a busy start in 2022. I mean, it's already looking like it's going to exceed last year, which was a record-breaking year. It's always a good time to visit Maui, and there's not really a strong seasonality in our market, but February is one of the most popular times to visit, I think, because the humpback whales are here, and it's just a beautiful time of year. That impacts the resort market. So resort condominiums have been selling really fast. I'll just share a couple recent statistics. So median price for a condominium on Maui is now $707,500. So 7075, and then single family homes are up to 115750. That's the median price of a home. So buying real estate's kind of like jumping on a train right now. And it's important.
A very fast moving train. Sorry to interrupt. A very fast moving train. Hey, I'm sorry about that, but go ahead.
But yeah, it's been good. Just busy here. Lots of visitors. Notably more visitors here than we've seen in a couple years.
You mentioned the whales. It really finally occurred to me after all these years that February is a good month. I'm understanding this is kind of when whales start migrating back to Alaska, and so there's a lot of sort of quote whale traffic. In fact, there's been some unfortunate stories of some run-ins and collisions with whales that have been on the water. So hope everyone's careful. But this is a good time. It's a good time for whale watch. And Heidi, you do whale watching. You mentioned you do some whale watching like right out of your house. Is that right?
Yeah, from our lanai, I mean, I can see whales breaching in the distance, which is pretty cool. And even if you're just walking outside, standing on the beach, you can see them, and they come to Maui to have their calves. So what's really fun is seeing the mom breach, and then you see the babies learning how to breach, and it's really fun.
Man, I don't know. For some reason, that just kind of struck me right now. Is there anything cooler than looking out your lanai, at a beautiful ocean in a beautiful place and seeing whales breaching? That's just, you can't top that, gang. Can you top that with anyone? Can anyone top that with anything? What beats that? I don't know. You have to kind of help me here. Top that, everybody. Scott,
one of the agents on my team last week was out on his boat, and he was there were some whales out in like behind his boat. So he was taking a selfie, and he was talking about it. And he says it'd be super awesome if they just breached right now, and one did, on cue. The whale came out of the water right behind him. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did that go on Instagram or something? That would be a viral one.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll put it in the chat.
That would be a viral one. If you get a hold of that, that'd be amazing. Scott, give us the update, buddy. What's happening on anything notable on Oahu? What's market-wise? Anything that you think is worth mentioning?
Yeah, market-wise, there's actually some interesting info, sorta. From the single-family home side, is status quo. Price is up 19% for January compared to the same month last year, so it's right in line with what last year was going on with last year. And the closed sales are up 12%, so we're still seeing that significant momentum on the single-family home side. And to get back to the number of active listings, we're at 384. We're below that 400 threshold, which is super tight. But the condo side is where the interesting activity is, because January's closed sales for condos on Oahu was significantly higher than previous Januaries of many years back. In fact, we're up 40% in number of sales for condos compared to the same time last year. And if you look at it, it's Kaka'ako, Ala Moana, Waikiki are the hot spots that are really moving. And the sales in Kaka'ako, Ala Moana are up 132% from the same time last year. And prices up 17% in Kaka'ako, Ala Moana, and up 15% in Waikiki. So we've now seen that area was the area that would have gotten hit the most during COVID. But so what we're seeing basically is there's such little inventory in the home side, people are shifting to the condo side because there's more to choose from, and the prices haven't gone as crazy, and it's not as competitive in that market. But inventory is significantly depleted in that area now as well. So prices are starting to get close to where that single family home price appreciation is, and we're seeing the acceleration in the number of sales on the condo side. So the one thing that was really interesting for me, I locked in on an interest rate or on a mortgage a month and a half ago at 3.35%, and we just pre-approved someone for 4% the other day. So interest rates are inching up. So it's interesting. The price is going up where they are, and interest rates going up. It's going to cost you more the longer you wait now at this point.
Wow, that's I don't know what the number is if you go from 3.3 to 4% per 100,000 or whatever, but I know that it has a significant impact. I know that Dylan had to rattle off some statistics on for every percentage, per every half a point or every point of interest rate that you go up, you pay X amount more. Scott, as you were talking about this on the kind of, I wish I had like a killer AI search on our previous videos where I could pull up how many times did you say, hey, condos are a good deal right now. The condo market.
Let me say it again. Condos are a good deal. I mean, how long did I say it for, right?
That's the point. Exactly, right? That is the whole point. Exactly what you're saying. Hey, Scott, real quick, one thing I want to make sure audio-wise, check the settings and go into audio and make sure that there's a checkbox that says automatically adjust mic volume. I'm not sure if it's doing that or not, but I want to make sure you're sounding fine, but I just want to make sure it's adjusting the volume. All right, that's great. That's a great update, Scott. And Alex has joined us. Alex is an alumni of the Honor Ohana. Welcome back, Alex. Good to see you, buddy. Aloha, everyone. Happy Aloha Friday. Great to see you too. Excellent. All right, let's move on. We're gonna do a Tom. Nothing to be sorry about, buddy. Nothing to be sorry about. We're always glad to have you here. Tom is another alumni of the Honor Ohana, and he's got his sites on Kauai. So Tom, keep us posted on your great adventure. All right, we're going to move on and let's kind of go. So I'm going to give a quick pitch, everybody. Make sure if you are here because you received the invite through the newsletter, you're good. If you came here otherwise, get to livinginhawaii.com. It'll probably pop. You're going to have a pop-up that's going to say, subscribe to our newsletter. Put your email address in there. If the pop-up doesn't show up, just scroll down the page. You'll see there'll be a puka, a place for you to enter in your email address. Get on the newsletter. It comes out every week. We've got content, videos, amazing photos. In fact, we had a photo of Makena Beach. I got to share them with you, Heidi. We had a great photo of Makena Beach, my favorite beach on Maui. And of course, you get invites to the show. So if you're not already connected, get connected. How do you? McKenna Beach has got like a really special place in my heart. It's where it's really the first beach I ever went to in Hawaii, and I have never forgotten what an amazing place that is. This was this was almost 40 years ago. This was 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago. So I'm sure it's different, but McKenna Beach, man, that's where it's at. I don't know what your thoughts are on McKenna Beach, Heidi. All right, so let's move on. So, gang, we're going to try something new today. We're going to try something new, going to try something different. So we had a question that came in from Big Mike in Seattle. Big Mike, I hope you're watching. If you're not, it's okay, because it's a kind of a cool thing. I'm going to try this out. It's an experiment. We're going to see how this is going to work. So I'm going to put out Mike's question. I'm going to read it out, and I'm going to send it out to you folks, the Ohana, the folks that are watching right now. A lot of you have been here week after week after week. So I'm going to take a bet that you folks know the answer to the question. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out Mike's question. I'm going to put it out to you folks. It's for the Ohana to answer. And I want you folks to put the answer in the comments. So I'm going to ask the question, take it in, put your answers in the comments, and we're going to go on with the show. And I'm going to come back to the comments later and see how the Ohana answered. I'll bet you guys have got the right answer. That's my bet. That's the risk I'm taking right now. So let's read off Mike's question. Big Mike says, I see Zillow condos that are less than 200,000 down to 100,000. Most are small, but I'm curious, would that be something worth considering? I mean, if it's someone's goal to live in Hawaii, what are the positives and the negative? What is fee simple? Is leasehold okay? Love your show. Big Mike. All right, folks, that's the question for the Ohana. How would you respond to it? How would you respond to Big Mike's question, which is there's condos under 100, condos approaching $100,000 when the median, Scott, was like 500. Scott, what's the median price of a condo on Oahu right now? Like 500,000 something?
Yeah, it's 510,000.
510. And Mike's seeing some leasehold properties. He's wondering about what leasehold and feasible. Gang, what's the answer? Pop the comments and we'll see how it all goes. All right, let's move on. So why don't we do this? Let's go back to the question that was posed earlier by Cameron. I'm going to go back to this. We'll leave. Let's do this. Let's kind of go. Let's pop this way. Okay. So, and we'll go around because we'll talk about all the islands, but we're going to start this with Scott. So Scott, Cameron says, when's a good time to buy a house on Oahu? My parents are looking to buy a house that has enough land on it to build an Ohana suite. I'm assuming there's enough when we're spelling it, but also have 3-bedroom and 2-bath. Scott, what's the answer?
Yeah, so the funny one, part of this is, I'm going to be a little joking in the sense that it says has enough land, because here in Oahu, we will squeeze every little bit of, what we can get out of a property, even on small land. Effectively, to answer the question, for you to be able to build an Ohana, you have to be in an area where it allows an Ohana dwelling, which is going to be a second dwelling on the property that is actually intended for family only, that you're not supposed to be renting out. You sign an affidavit, it gets attached to your title. The other component would be an ADU, which is similar, but it's another dwelling, but there are different restrictions and different requirements. You can rent it out. But there's most of the Ohana and ADU components are more going to be in your urban development areas, your residential areas. You can get some of it out in the country settings, North Shore, Windward Coast, but most of it is going to be in those urban core settings where your density, where density is allowed, right? And in the urban core, density is kind of the name of the game, and we need more housing. So the county is more flexible with what you can do from having a second dwelling. You actually can also get properties where you don't need to do an Ohana or an ADU. You actually have enough land where you can build a second dwelling and it can be a full-blown house. That's some of the stuff that I've developed before.
Great, Scott. Thanks. Heidi, how would you answer Cameron's question? If they're looking for, he wants a house on enough land in it to build an Ohana unit, with a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, what would be your answer to Cameron?
Well, the question, when is a good time to buy? I mean, I would say, as soon as you can find something that fits your needs. There's there's all kinds of considerations in buying a property like this. There's some areas in West Maui where you can build an ohana, but you would have to convert a cesspool to septic, something like that. So you want to know those kind of things. But yeah, there are properties like this available. And I mean, I would say, as soon as you can find something that fits your needs, and just make sure that you do your due diligence in actually being able to build the ohana and what it's going to take. Or you might be able to find something that already has an ohana built into it, either attached or detached.
Thanks, Heidi. Hey, Scott, we forgot, thank you, Heidi, for first answering the question. Scott, you never answered the question. When is a good time to buy the house? What's the answer?
As Dylan would say, yesterday, I think. I mean, the way the market's going, yeah. I mean, it's the sooner you get in, the better. There's never a wrong time to buy. It's always, is it the right time for you? If you have if you're ready to put down roots and you have a secure job, then now's the time to buy if you want to build a financial foundation.
Yeah, I mean, prices are going up, and they're not showing any sign of slowing. And with the interest rates are going to go up even more. So, you decide. Dylan, what's your answer to Cameron? When's a good time to buy a house? And how would you go about getting an ohana unit on the Big Island?
Yeah, it's always important to remember there's no seasonal cycle in Hawaii, right? I mean, it does get a little bit busier in the winter and the summer when people are here visiting, but it's not like other places where kind of real estate shuts down during the winter time, and in the spring's like a really good time to buy. So if you're looking for a seasonal kind of time, that's not really going to happen. And yes, last week or last year was the best time to buy. So hurry up. The ohana question, this is a complicated one because it really depends on each island. There's different, the zoning and building code regulations vary from island to island. So like on the Big Island, ohana is a legal term, right? So people use it just throw it out there, but there used to be a legal way to build an ohana property. They did away with that, so you can't even do it anymore. So an ohana used to be a second dwelling that had a full kitchen and all that kind of stuff. If you have one, it's grandfathered in, but you can't do that going forward. So when people think I'm just going to build a second unit on my property, that's just not a thing you can do anymore on the Big Island. So what people do is they'll build potentially a second dwelling or an addition and then add kitchen facilities to it after it's approved by the county. And so that they're not necessarily a legal addition, but people do it all the time. So that's something to kind of think about and do a little deeper dive depending on where you're going to buy and what exactly the regulations are. What is the zoning? Are you going to upgrade your wastewater system? That's a big issue right now, is we cannot do cesspools anymore. So if you're on a cesspool and you expand any type of your wastewater usage, you have to convert to a septic tank in order to get permits to do that. So there's a lot of factors involved, and it's not just kind of a simple I'm going to buy here and build another unit on my property. It's very, very complicated, and there could be a lot of unforeseen cost implications if you don't do a little deeper dive into what your plans are.
Excellent, great responses. Is there anything else you guys? I'm gonna go back to our other questions. Is there anything else you folks want to add before we move on? Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, the seasonal component's an interesting one for people because we slowed down a little bit during the wintertime, but where on the mainland, where a lot of markets, people don't really bring their homes on the market during the wintertime because of the cold weather. We don't have that cold weather, and keep in mind, we get a large influx of snowbird people coming from the mainland during the winter that are looking to buy at that point. So we don't have these big fluctuations on the time to buy within the year. It's pretty consistent across the board.
Excellent, Scott. Great responses, gang. So Cameron, hope that answers your question. So now let's go back, because the responses have been coming in, and I knew you guys knew. I knew it. So let's go through them, because they came in and they're right on the money. So Judy, God bless you, Judy. Just like Judy, because bam, right there's the answer right there. Judy says, so let's go back just for a quick sec. So here's the question again. So this is Big Mike, and he's asking about, there's some condos that are under 200,000, some are 100,000. Are these okay? Are these worth considering, etc.? All right. So here's the answers, and you're just fabulous. So Judy, God bless you. Don't use Zillow. Talk to one of these amazing realtors instead. I didn't like to talk to realtors in the past because of fear of pressure. These realtors are not like that. They are full of knowledge and just want to help us. Judy, I couldn't have written that. I mean, we couldn't have planned it, right? Right, Dylan? Dylan's like, yes, thank you. Exactly, right. She's working with Dylan's crew. That's exactly right. Thank you, Judy. Bless you. Tom, Scott said leaseholds could be okay if the numbers work, specifically leasehold term like 20 or 30 years left. What's the leasehold and what is the leasehold monthly rent and when does the rent reset? However, I have seen HOA fees, which is what housing, which HOA stands for what? Housing owner fees or whatever?
Homeowner association.
Thank you. Homeowner association fees on leasehold properties to be high, $1,500 to $2,000. So Tom gives us like the detailed technical answer right on the money. Exactly. Because he learned from Scott. What does Tom say? Tom says, I'm going to guess that the fees make up the difference on the price for the sub 200K condos. Possibly there also might be rules on how many days you're allowed to go a year. Finally, the condition. Great point. Absolutely. And Gil's just like, what? Under 200K condo? That's just not possible. And Alex is like, okay, it's got to be condos in the lava area. Now there are no condos in the lava area, but that would be a reason if it was on the big island, right? It's a big risk. I would save the money and buy it a better area. Also touch base with our group because they are more expert than us. Right? Exactly. This is great. Val says they may be leasehold. Exactly, Val. Double check to see. If so, I would check how many years are left on the lease. Be careful as you may not be able to enjoy the condo very long if the lease expires soon. You know what? We may be out of a job here, gang, because we got this is that just like bam, right on the money with the answers. This is so much fun. I knew this was going to work. I took a big risk. Auntie Joyce says, I saw some cheap deals when we first started looking. Then I discovered the catch-22 of leasehold versus fee simple. Decided leasehold not a great way to go for us. Didn't want to lease a property, not own it outright. Big on was our permanent, is our permanent last home. Exactly. Again, as Scott has mentioned before, leasehold's good for some under certain circumstances, as Tom pointed out, right? But you gotta kind of know what the deal is. Norman, we're going to come back to that question about septic systems. We're kind of all new homes on the Big Island. We're going to go right back to that. And Andy George, bravo, exactly, right on the money. So what about this? So let's come back to our septic. Val. I got to get Val's comment here. Leasehold not always bad, exactly. But just depends on how long you want to use it. I purchased a leasehold for my office, but the lease doesn't expire until the 2050s after I'm retired. So it was a deal. Exactly. It's not Look, I bought leasehold a long time ago. It's not universally good or bad, but you just really got to know what you're buying. It's all those little details. There's, as Dylan has said so many times, if something's going really, really cheap, way below market value, there's a reason why. And you just need to know what that reason is. And the reason is either okay or it's not okay, but there's a reason why. It ain't just because someone wants to give someone a deal, at a median price of 500 some odd thousand, put a deal for, 150,000. There's a reason why. All right. Great answers, everybody. Man, if I had a sound effect for like applause, I would play it now. It's just amazing. All right. So Norm goes back. Let's kind of quick answers across the state. So Norm, we're going to give you the only place you can get across the state answers is right here. Let's go in counterclockwise. Scott, then Heidi, then Dylan. Septic systems. What's the deal with septic? If you currently have a cesspool, what's the rule with septic on either new build outs or additions or new construction? Scott.
Yeah, well, if you have septic or if you have a cesspool in place, they may require you to change over to a septic system. There is a hard date, like 2050 something, for people to switch over. But for septic systems on Oahu, not going to be nearly as prevalent because most of us are city sewer. It's only until you get out the windward coast, the North Shore, and some ag land areas, some kind of more remote areas where you may not have access to city sewer. If you have access to it, you're forced to tie into it. If you don't have access to it, then you're going the septic route. And the one thing to understand with septic systems on residential property, you're maxed at 5 bedrooms for on the property. Now there's ways to kind of bend that a little bit. Home office, it's not a full bedroom and whatnot.
Don't tell anyone.
But yeah, so septic systems here. In fact, my first 2 development projects were on septic. So you do see it, but it's not nearly as prevalent. It's more in remote areas.
Yeah, Oahu's got the sewer system, the utility. Heidi, what about Maui? What's you mentioned something about building a house on Maui with septic. How does that work on Maui?
Yeah, you either need to tie into county sewer or you need to have a septic system for a new home. They're phasing out cesspools, and I believe that is statewide. So what I was mentioning before is even if you're going to add on to your house or get a building permit to build an accessory dwelling or Ohana, the county is going to require you, if you have a cesspool, to upgrade it to septic. So yeah, I believe 2050 is the date. Everybody has to be converted over to septic. But a lot, like Scott said, I mean, on Oahu, Maui is similar. I mean, there are a lot of places that are on the county sewer system. One of my probably least favorite things about being a realtor is attending septic inspections. Those are pretty nasty.
I get. I don't even want to imagine what that's like. I don't even want to imagine what that's like. Um, Dylan, what is the legal sort of ruling, or how does that work? You mentioned it as well. What's the thing with septic on the Big Island?
So it is a state law. So this is one thing that is not county by county, right? So the septic conversion or the cesspool conversion law is a state law, and by 2050, everyone is supposed to be converted over to a septic system.
I did not know that. That's a state law.
And so going forward, and I have some editorialization to do on that or in a second. But going forward, any new construction, you have to be on septic. You cannot build a cesspool anymore. And like Heidi said, if you're going to do any type of upgrades or additions, that's going to increase the amount of wastewater that you have to upgrade to a septic system. The problem with this is it's very much a feel-good law. A virtual signaling law is what it is, because the reality is when this happens in 2050, and hopefully I'm not selling houses at that point, but I'll probably still be around. It's impractical. I mean, there's no way you're gonna across the entire state have hundreds of thousands of homes all of a sudden start converting over to septic systems. One, because we don't have the capacity contractor wise, and two, a lot of these homes were built a long time ago with the thought that you wouldn't have to do this, right? So the accessibility of where you would have to put the system may not be possible. So it's from just a access and construction standpoint gonna not be possible for many places. Or what are you gonna have to do? Move your whole house in order to get to the place where you need to bring a machine in to dig a hole to upgrade your cesspool. It's just not gonna be practical. So I'm thinking this is probably gonna change, but it's easy for politicians to pass laws that require something 25 years into the future and then tell people how great they are for saving the environment, today. So that's really what that law was. I think as we get closer, there's going to be some revisions to that when they find out that. And then what are you going to do? You're going to require people on fixed incomes to spend 25, 30 grand to upgrade their system, or what? Are you going to start fining them and put them in jail? Like, what are you going to do if they don't, right? So it's complicated, but I tell people don't worry about it. It's going to change when we get closer and people figure out the real implications.
That's a really good point, right? You pass a law that's not going to take effect for 30 years, which is like, after, there's a good chance the legislator won't be alive anymore, when it goes into effect, knowing full well that it's not going to happen that way. But you could tell people that you did it. So,
yeah,
we've got the solution, and Alex agrees. Alex agrees. Well said. And hey, Scott, you got a comment here from Patrick. A nice looking new Hawaiian shirt, and of course, Dylan's always sporting a gray one. Yeah, that's it, man. We're always that's what we try to do, man. We're trying to. Dylan's the fashionista. He started the whole thing, right? He started the whole thing, and kind of because he kind of dragged me and Scott into it. Begrudgingly. We're pulling our shirts out of the attic, or well, we don't have an attic, but out of the storage container because we gotta. Well, I make it easy because this is like the company color, so I wear the same one every time, so I'm totally cheating. But I have a good excuse. It fits the color scheme of the living in Hawaii aqua blue. All right, gang, great stuff. You guys are phenomenal. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say part of why I love doing the show is because of the connections that we have with you as the audience. And someone had reached out. We had covered this topic before, and someone had reached out and said, hey, there are new septic tanks that don't even have a leach field. And I said, hey, send me the info. I got all the info from them and did some research on it. It was really amazing. And the reality is, if you think about it, in 20, 30 years, is it even going to be a septic system that we're using? Is there going to have something completely new used? So the technology is always improving and stuff. So I'm actually interested to kind of see what's going on out there, because a septic tank without a leach field, the leach field is the biggest challenge typically with septic tanks. You got to have a big enough field to be able to absorb that water that goes into the ground and stuff.
That's a really good point. Scott, I'll bet there'll be some kind of future Elon Musk kind of person who's gonna kind of invent something crazy that's solar powered or whatever that's gonna make this all go away, and just be like a click of the mouse or something, right? And so that's that. And Patrick and Heidi is always beautiful. Yes, Patrick, Heidi is always beautiful, and we're so glad that Heidi is part. Thank you, Heidi, for being part of it. You had we really needed someone to round out three guys talking. So thank you so much for being a part of this. We really needed the balance. Three guys talking would just not be. It would just be boring. It'd just be boring. So thank you, Heidi, for being a part of it, and the diversity that you bring. Not just in appearance, but also in the way that you think, which is really great. Heidi answers the question. That's where it's different, right, guys? Heidi answers the question. We just kind of throw out whatever we want to throw out. Okay, all right, let's move on. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to our diamonds and deals. So this is where I've asked our friends to put together properties that they think are worth mentioning. By the way, Heidi, I got to say, didn't we wasn't for the question that wanted the Ohana unit with the 3-bedroom, didn't you have like this killer beachfront property last week that was like ready to be built to have a second unit on it or something like that, or was ready for a unit? It was a cottage. Wasn't that would have been perfect, right? That wouldn't, right? You're muted.
The property that I showed last time, it had a cottage on the property, and you could build a main home on it. So on Maui, a cottage is considered 1,000 square feet or less, and if it's ag zoning, depending on the zoning.
Take a look, man. Take a look. It's not Oahu, but it's Maui. And take a look at last show. There's they're on demand, so you can kind of play them back. All right, let's move on. Let's go to our diamonds and deals here. Let's see who's up first. This is in Maui, a 320 Cook Pin Drive, Kapalua, Maui, 3-bedroom, 3.5 baths. Is that a resort? What on earth is Jesus? What is that, Heidi?
So it should be Cook Pine Drive. There should be an E on the end of that. But
Pine Pin, it's all good.
This is a phenomenal home in a neighborhood in Kapalua called Pineapple Hill. The median price of a home in this neighborhood is $4.1 million. So this is a great deal. And as you can see, the doors completely open up. So it's true indoor-outdoor living. And then you're walking out to the pool and the waterfall spa, and you're looking out to the ocean. And then those big, tall pine trees that you see, those are the Cook pines, which I believe were planted because they could be used for masts for ships way back in the day. But they're really beautiful, and you see them in this area in Kapalua.
Heidi, this is this really is a stunning property. Absolutely. I mean, it's like a total resort, and great shots, of course. Truly aspirational, amazing. For the low price of $4 million, gang. What's four between friends, right? That is awesome. Thank you, Heidi. Love to look at these because it's like, I think Hawaii's beauty is of course the backdrop, but I think I've never seen, because of Hawaii's beauty, I've never seen homes, no matter how extravagant or how amazing that they would be on like lifestyles of the rich and famous, that approach Hawaii homes just because of the amazing backdrop like this. You can't buy that. And speaking of backdrops, man, what's this? Ward Village. I'll let you pronounce that. A'ali'i at Ward Village, I think. Scott, okay, did I pass my Hawaiian pronunciation? That's all right, good. Scott, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, you did a great job on that. A'ali'i at Ward Village. So this is actually a small one bedroom, just shy of 500 square feet. In the upper left corner is some more compact units, but they've maxed out the design of the floor plan. You got great views. That picture that you see, the main picture with the sunset, that's the 41st floor amenities deck. There's a whole outdoor pavilion area. This is just the front portion. It carries almost all the way to the back of the tower, and you can go up there, hang out with friends. You can actually reserve the There's a whole TV kitchen area that you can reserve that's indoors. They have the gym up on that level. And then to the left, in the middle picture on the left, that's the 6th floor amenity deck with the pools and the cabanas and the barbecue areas and chef's kitchens, et cetera, et cetera. So smaller, compact unit. The main part of the reason I chose this, for one, is because I was just talking about condo sales in Waikiki Kaka'ako, Ala Moana being significantly up. But this tower closed. This is a resale unit. The tower closed by the developer in September. They've sold most of the units. What most people don't know, though, is I can help people with those development project units that aren't listed for sale in MLS. I have a new developments newsletter I send out. I talk to the developers and work with them all the time. So I have the latest info and the latest updates, floor plans, pricing, how they're doing it. So there are some new development units in here. They come with full furniture package already in the sale price. And if you buy it, the developer gives you a 1-year warranty from the date of your purchase. So kind of a two-pronged thing there. Hey, if you're interested in new developments in Oahu, reach out, let me know, because I can set you up on that if you're considering resale and new developments. And this is just an amazing tower and a great location. That 41st floor is just stunning. I was actually up there the other night with a client of mine that I helped buy in there. We were hanging out for about 2 hours, just so relaxing up there. It's a beautiful spot.
Scott, thanks for mentioning that. So a couple of things for people to kind of think about, right? Is that one is that it sounds what I'm hearing you, Scott, is that through the relations that you fostered over the decades, you could get a situation where a lead in, so to speak, get it in a little bit ahead of the sort of the rush to get a condo, which is invaluable. It's a big deal.
Yeah, the other component is, all the developers, they don't list their stuff typically in MLS, so you got to try to search for this stuff all over the place. I have it all in one place on my website, and I have all the info. So, hey, you want to tell me your lifestyle, what you want? Okay, this is the tower. I can do a consultation with you and kind of point you in the right direction of where you should be, and I can give you the updated info as I get it from those developers. So it streamlines the process and makes it a little easier for people.
Excellent. One thing, Scott, that just occurred to me as you were talking about this was that you mentioned this is this view, that this incredible sunset view that we're looking at is on the you said 41st floor, right, of the property. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
So here's what's interesting, gang, is that I think the tallest buildings in Hawaii don't go much past 40 floors, if not 40, right, Scott? Was there a limit on how many story on?
Yeah, that's correct. They're 41st floors is pretty much where they top out.
Okay, so relatively speaking, so so think about what this kind of implies, gang. So if you're like, if you live in a major urban area, New York, Chicago, LA, whatever, this is as tall as the tallest building in the place. So even though 40 floor is small, let's say by Chicago or by New York standards, where you have 100 stories plus, right? In Hawaii, you're at the top part. There's really no higher building in the state, in Hawaii. So that's just kind of an interesting kind of a thing to kind of think about. It's a really cool thing. So anyway, I thought I'd kind of run that back. Oh, there, Mark is here. I see, Mark. I can't. Mark, I can't do a copy and paste of the link. So we got to think out a better way to do this, Mark. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, Mark. I'm gonna post an article on the vlog on the website, which is gonna come through the newsletter. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna promote Mark, if it's okay with you folks, send me an email. I'm gonna add it onto our newsletter as a story to give a plug. Gil, we're going to take your question right after Dylan talks about his. Is it advisable to do? So here's a question for everybody. Maybe this is another Ohana question. Is it advisable to do a trial run and rent a few months before making the big move? If so, any recommendations on where to start with short-term furnished rentals? Mark, you guys did something like that. You guys came to Hawaii. You hung out in Waikiki for some time. I believe you moved to a short-term rental and then you bought, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe share your experience, Mark, if you would. Mark Whitehill, throw it on the comments and see where I'd love to get that thing. And yeah, okay, good. Well, post it on. Terrific. Send it to me. All right. So let's see. We got a couple of things that are popping in over here. So, oh yeah. So Judy, we love you, man. I forgot to mention that you could talk to these realtors with nothing to lose. They will Google Meet with you while you are still on the mainland before you travel out. Right, Dylan?
Anytime. You can, in all my signatures, there's a link to book a meeting. It's too easy.
There you go, man. I mean, that's one of the good sides about one of the silver linings of COVID, right? Is that we can do these virtual meetings and virtual walkthroughs. It works out great. Thank you, Judy. Very good point. It's exactly correct. All right, let's go to the next one. This is Dylan, who's got a 4-bedroom, 3-bath in Sunset for $975. Incredible view. Dylan, what are we looking at?
This is my $1 million view for under $1 million, and this picture doesn't even do justice. I mean, it's 100. So you're looking down. That's looking north, and it goes all the way 100 plus 80 degrees to the south, and just a killer horizon shoreline view. You're looking right into Kailua Bay, and nice older neighborhood. This is kind of the first upscale neighborhood in Kona was Sunset, and the house is totally renovated, beautiful. It's got a separate unit downstairs, and actually that picture in the bottom left is the downstairs view. So that's the view from the downstairs of the house. It's still really good. So yeah, just a awesome. It's pretty hard to find. Nowadays there's so little inventory. It can be hard to find a deal, but I really feel like this is the great value, and we'll probably sell for over list price. But beautiful house, huge A-frame, high ceilings, huge windows. You can kind of see the view from the kitchen right there. I mean, the front wall is pretty much just huge windows, right? So you're just looking from your kitchen and your living room right out into the ocean. So this is probably about 600 feet of elevation. It's back off of the ocean, not near the ocean, but just a short 5-minute drive to get to some of the best beaches in Kona.
I got to tell you, Dylan, I must say, clearly these photos I could just tell these photos do not do it justice, right? Because I'm looking at that A-frame, that second photo over, and from the kitchen, that's just got to be, I mean, to be there in person and to experience that would be just like stunning. It's because these high ceilings, right? I could just I have to imagine it because it looks amazing. Looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the comments are coming in. Of course, I knew it. This is like the best. This is the best. First of all, I got to give a shout out to Daryl. Daryl, welcome back, buddy. So Daryl is also a member of the Islander Ohana, and Daryl says an alumni of the Islander Ohana. Thanks for all the info. Trying to keep the dream alive. Still looking to unvacation next year. Unvacation, something that we teach in the course. Daryl, keep us posted, buddy. We know that Hawaii is in your hearts, and I believe it is. I believe it is in your future. So this is to Gil's to Gil's question. Gil, here it is, man. Let me kind of move this around a little bit. Let's do it this way instead. Yeah. So Gil, here's what Mark says. Yep, we spent 2 months in a condo Airbnb in Waikiki. It was meant to be a quote toe dip, but by that point we had sold everything and essentially moved here. Too committed to go back at that point. So yes, Gil. Get yourself some kind of an Airbnb in Waikiki because that's a resort zoned area. Kapolei is the other resort owned area, as is the North Shore. But get yourself one of those sort of things, and that would be the way to do it. So Gil, to your question, yep, Mark did it, and Christine, yep. Judy, that's it. Christine, hook up Scott, Dylan, whoever you're working with, whatever the island, or of course Heidi for Maui, and there you go. There you go. This is there's a I should bring up. I'm going to bring this up for our next closing thought about. And Proverbs, it says, never let someone else talk on your behalf. Just like Mark here, who's talking on Scott's behalf. Bought a condo with Scott. He's an amazing real estate agent. See, Scott, better to have Mark say it, because Scott, if you said it, we wouldn't believe you, right? But Mark says it, it's like, okay, it's Mark. He did it. He's living it. Did you find the whale video link, Dylan? So Dylan, we want that whale video link. Find that if you can. Find it or email it to me, and we'll pop it in. Dylan, if you get it, email it to me, and then I'll add it on the newsletter. We'll send it out, Tom. Oh man, that is amazing. All right, look at that. We are out of time. All right, gang. Last call for questions. Pop it in because Patrick's leaving. Mahalo all. And let's go on to our closing thoughts over here. So we got let's see what we got going on over here. So we got our closing thoughts, and we got little slides for each. Here we go. Dylan, go for it. What's yours?
Yeah, this just came up this week, and I just think about this as a good thought in life and everything in general, right? Everything is hard before it's easy, so choose your hard. If you're avoiding hard, you're never going to get anything done.
Choose your hard. I like that. I like that. Choose everything is hard before it's easy. Choose your heart. And that's a great one. Excellent. Excellent. Heidi, what you got here?
Give every day a chance to become the most beautiful day of your life. And that was by Mark Twain, not Heidi, but I think it's a great quote.
Well, you've got it. I see. I had to put like the name because I need to know who put the quote up. So that's you. But you did put Mark Twain there.
Yeah.
You're not. So Heidi, what does that mean to you? What does this mean to you? I can read it, but what does it mean to you?
To me, it means keeping an open mind and being mindful of the beauty all around you every day, no matter what's going on. I mean, sometimes I wake up and it's a busy day and you're working and you have to go here and there. And, but I think it's just about breathing and being open to all the wonderful things around you, wherever
Well
you
said.
are. I mean, you
Wherever
don't
you
need
are.
to be in Hawaii to have that
But
attitude.
it sure is easier. But it sure is easier if you're in Hawaii. It's a lot easier because all you got to do is look outside and look at those whales breaching off of your lanai, or look that insane view out of that house that Dylan's got, or just look over Scott's shoulder with the live shot with coconut trees and Diamond Head right in your backyard. It's a lot easier. Auntie Joyce kicks in. I rented a place here through VRBO for 2 months while Dylan got our place. So, Gil, that's the way to do it. Scott, what's your closing thought for today?
Yeah, so this describes me to a T, and I feel like it's a lot of what you're doing, Peter, with the Islander Ohana. It says, I saw this earlier this week, all you need is a plan, the roadmap, and the courage to press on to your destination. And, you know, for me, that's how I pretty much approach a lot of things. I have a plan and then just steamroll ahead. And I feel like what you're doing with the Islander Ohana, Peter, is, and this is what Mark and Lisa did, right? They had a plan and the roadmap, and they moved on over here. And you've made that plan and that roadmap a lot easier for people to be able to make this their destination if this is where they want to be.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I think Scott, what really kind of sticks out in what you said is, the roadmap, the plan, and the courage to follow it. That's where kind of, to me, like the rubber meets the road, right? The courage to follow it. That is the one thing. So thank you, gang. All right, so here's mine, and I'm digging. I hope you all are digging the Proverbs kind of stuff for the folks who like the Proverbs thing. It's a great book. Here's what it says: know well the conditions of your flocks and give attention to your herds, for riches do not last forever, nor a crown for all generations. What that means to me is, obviously we don't have flocks and herds anymore, but it's to say, take care of the life that you have, enjoy what you have, treasure what you have, and take good care of it. Nothing lasts forever, right? For riches do not last forever, nor a crown for all generations. So know well, take care of your things and take care of your stuff and take care of yourself. All right, man, it's been another phenomenal show. Auntie Joyce, stay safe and have a great 2 weeks to y'all. Sent with aloha love. Yes, thank you, Auntie Joyce. We love you to pieces. Let's go clockwise. Say goodbye, everybody. Dylan, then Heidi, and then Scott.
I love everybody. Have an awesome weekend.
Aloha.
Aloha, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody. And Mark's going to close one. I like that one, the courage to follow your dreams, because moving here was one of the most terrifying things I have ever done. God bless you.
Choose your heart. Choose your heart.
Choose your heart. Mark chose his heart. Mark chose his heart. Exactly. And Jason, have a great weekend. Yep. All right, gang. See y'all later. Aloha, everybody.